When it is your turn to speak, either at the podium or on the phone, please state which of the agenda items you would like to speak to.
All right, we'll take a brief moment of recess while we determine what the nature of the alarm is. So for the members of the public who are here, we do have a fire alarm that has been pulled on the third floor, this floor. We're trying to determine right now whether there is any reason to think that that is a real alarm or was accidentally pulled. So we're getting to the bottom of it will be just a minute. So to all of our visitors here, I apologize for that inconvenience. Sometimes this happens when people pull the alarms, and so I apologize that you were disrupted like that. But I think I just want to make sure that all of our members are back here before we begin, so let's just hold for another minute, please. Good morning.
Good morning. Which items would you like to speak to?
I'm speaking general public comment. I'm in Heather Hutt's district. I'm talking about directed energy, War at the Speed of Light. This is the name of a book. Oh, this is the name of a book you can get. Here's another book that you can get. There's 10 books in the library. They're all easy. Directed energy is easy. When did directed energy start? When Reagan gave his Star Wars speech. That's what Star Wars is. Directed energy. Lightning is directed energy. You're going to be expert. I'm way not an expert, but the books are easy. And anyway, when Reagan talked about Star Wars, it wasn't even on the agenda. And his aide said, he's talking about high energy particle beams and microwaves and lasers. So all three of those are directed energy. Why am I interested in this? I'm interested in it because it's been used on Americans. Here's a picture of Keanu Reeves.
Thank you very much. Next speaker, please.
I'm going to follow him as well with street vending. I'm a street vendor.
So you have 1 minute for item 32.
Thank you. John Scudder, United States Marine Corps veteran. I'm also a street vendor. I have 2 coffee carts and we're building a truck. I'm also against this ordinance and the new law that's coming out, or should I say they already got passed a week ago with the county health department. This law seems to be a way to put street vendors out of business. If you follow all the guidelines and all the footage of being 10 feet from a corner, 5 feet from a tree, 3 feet from a parking meter, that only leaves about 2 spaces in an entire city block that we can legally street vend. In regards to the places where we can't vend, like Dodger Stadium, Hollywood Boulevard, those are our biggest tourist places and places where vendors should be allowed to vend. This has to get amended. I just spoke with the councilman about this and some other people, and hopefully we put some stuff forward. But look at all these people behind me here. We're all the same, and we all got brown skin, and we all out here trying to make a living.
Expired?
General comment.
So you have 1 minute for general public comment.
We make our living selling, and I have followed the law to the T to where now your laws are bumping heads. I have a street vendor's license that goes through Public Works. I am a United States Marine Corps veteran. I have a veteran's license, and right on my license, it states that I am allowed to sell and vend and don't need any of this shit. And now, after 3 years of having my street vendor's license, I'm being told I need to go to the health department to have my cart approved there for that inspection, and now you come out with the county's come out with this new ordinance. That's 4 different people tugging at one person, and all of us who's trying to make an honest living out here. We make an honest living with an honest day's work, providing services for people. And we should be allowed to do that without all of these different restrictions and fees. County wants 640, 320 for the street vendors.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes,
we
hear you.
can.
Which items would you like to speak to?
Oh, no, actually, I have a general public comment.
We are also doing general public comment now, so you have 1 minute.
Oh, okay, that's good, okay. Anyway, general public comment, good morning, even subhuman low life. Yuri Martinez said, if you are indicted, you will be suspended from this council. Petty, pink-faced, corrupt Armenian dictator Paul Krikorian is even lower than Martinez because he has indicted out on bail, embezzling criminal current price voting daily on this corrupt, sleazy council, but not today. And we wonder why there are 60,000+ homeless people on our streets. Sleazy Marquise Dawson is the worst thing to ever happen to the black community. Black women are only 4.3% of the population, but 22% of female rape, 36% of female assault, 33% of female homicide, and 33% of all female violence. The black community has zero representation from these incompetent, corrupt, sellout, self-serving, indicted black Uncle Tom members of this corrupt city council. Thank you very much.
My name is Jason, a Smoke and Scan viewer. Oh, that's not it.
Which items would you
Welcome
like to
back
speak to?
790 KABC and the John Phillips Show.
Which item would you
Caller,
like to
I-
speak
Smoke and
on,
Scan,
Mr.
but we like
Anders?
to pretend to be.
Which item would you like to speak on?
Why don't we talk about all of them today, Paul?
So you have 3 minutes for the items. Please begin.
All righty. So, 32. There's a lot of good street vendors out there like Mr. Scudder. He served our country and now he's serving our community. Thank you for your service. You have an open invitation to come on Smoke and Scan anytime. It would be nice if the council took time to honor people like Mr. Scudder and thank him for his service. I noticed that there are no vending zones on Figueroa where Paul's lady friends like to walk around. Let's see, number 18, Eugene Levy. Pipe fucker's dad gets a star on the Walk of Fame. He comes off like a goof, but isn't he really the kind of dad that all kids in America need today? You know, ones that support him, but don't let him go too far off with their wild ideas. But if you catch you fucking a pie or you glue a dick to your videotape, who would you better want more than a dad than Eugene Levy? I think it's about time. I'm surprised that he didn't have another one, or didn't have one there already. Let's see, number 19, I think we need to do more to promote art in the community, but I think we need to be careful about the art that we promote. You know, I mean, there's a lot of, I think, cool graffiti stuff that we could do with the kids and that, and just not turn them into, you know, some kind of hippie liberal arts type stuff for the kids, you know. Let's see, 20, money for the guy that got killed. I think if we're giving money for rewards, we should also give money to as a reward for the Scientologist that beat up that streamer last night that was protesting about human trafficking. And let's see, general public comment. Is Democratic Rep Jamal Bowman, the guy from New York, is he in the House today? Is he conducting training? Is that what you guys are going to do when moving to public comment doesn't work? That you're going to try another way to stop people from being able to talk? You know, that's all I have to say today. So all you nerds and virgins have a good time.
Okay,
and
thank you
dude,
very
stay
much.
out of the skinny jeans.
Okay, next caller, please.
Thank you. It's Eric Previn. And I think it's arbitrary to take 2 more callers at 11:02. But
morning.
I appreciate
Which
it.
items would you like to speak on, Mr. Previn?
Thank you, Mr. Krikorian. I'd like to speak on all of the available items and a general public comment, which apparently you've lumped in today. Is that correct?
So you have 3 minutes for the items and 1 minute for general public comment. Just to be clear, the items are 1 through 3, 17 through 23, and 32. Please begin.
What about all the other closed session items? You have like 8 closed session items that are in my article on Eric
The
Previn's
city attorney
notebook
just
at
read the
City-
items that are open for public comment. Speak to those items or go to general public comment.
Okay, I'll speak to those items. Thank you. 1, 2, and 32, is that it? Yeah, okay. So item 1 is a very nice item. It's first up in our agenda today. And it's a pipeline, an oil pipeline franchise. So where Krikorian loves to jump up and bellyache about how the fossil fuel industry, he's going after them personally, here we are simply extending a franchise. So great work. Why not tag them for a huge amount of money to pay for some technology to have the mini-headed clerk and CLA who can't figure out how to offer a fair meeting get some help from AI? That's one idea. Item 2 is the city attorney is taking a look, fortunately. He's going to approve a special assessment for the Chatsworth bid. Great, good work. I just had one question about the law firm Nossaman LP, because that's a firm that's handling a lot of our LAWA stuff and also John Lee's ethics violation. So I know you claimed a little conflict, but that can't stand, Krikorian. You realize that, right? He can't be represented by a firm that the city pays millions and millions of dollars for.
So, Mr. Previn,
That's
this
not
is your
gonna
only
work,
warning.
I
I
don't
need you to
think.
bring this back to the agenda items, please.
Yes, 32 is about street vending, Grote, and I'm selling little helmets for guys like you to stay out of my business when I'm speaking, and I can get to general public comment. You're really a disruptive,
Okay,
vexatious...
move him
little
to
prick, and I
general
can say
public
that.
comment. Move him to general public comment.
okay, let's
Arguing
get right
with the
to it.
city
Let's take the
attorney is
gloves
not
off.
on our agenda, so you can begin your general public comment right now.
Okay, thank you. I'll go back to the Nossaman LP. This is a law firm that you guys pour millions and millions of dollars into for LAWA work, but now John Lee, Stafford B, is using that money, or that firm's goodwill, with a little firewall based on nothing, because all lawyers lie. It's part of their job to defend him. So that does not pass the smell test, in my view, along with many other protocols, including the variable back and forth between meeting agenda. I'm glad that you're allowing people to get their minds, get their public comment out early today, but it should be every day if that's the way we're going to do it, because that's what the rules say. You don't follow the rules, you cherry pick the rules to serve your own interests, which is appalling, because you're mostly spending your time scolding people about how even the storm, people, it's not enough to take care of yourself, it's not enough to take care of your neighbors. You have to...
Caller, your time has
You're just-
expired.
Thank you. Next caller, and this will be our final caller.
Awesome, thank you. It's a pretty bad shame this storm came during an emergency, yet the city is doing nothing once again for the homeless. I have hundreds of tents down the road from me, and not one thing is being done for them. They're sitting out here in the middle of a storm underneath a tent, and you people could care less. The other comment I want to make is Boyle Heights, get ready, because we got an election coming up, and Kevin DeLeon needs to be unseated, and Miguel Santiago is your vote for this election. Bye, Kevin. Have a wonderful trip, and don't forget the unemployment line's right outside the door. Bye.
I followed this because my parents were street vendors, and I remember taking them to the meetings where this was being discussed at a very grassroots level. So on a very personal note, it strikes me on a very personal note, I would say. So I'll make some comments, and then if there's any questions, we'll hand it off to my colleagues. But first of all, I want to thank the street vendors that are here today. They have filled these halls with a lot of enthusiasm and a lot of energy. And I think that's really important, because when we think about the laws and how laws are evolved in this country, it's a question of whose input is being put into those laws. And so today, I think what we're voting on is going to reflect the personal experiences of those street vendors and how they experience us here in the city of Los Angeles. And this legislation is about eliminating the 7 areas currently designated as no vending zones in the city of Los Angeles. And by eliminating those no vending zones, we will also be getting rid of a lot of the harassment and ticketing that street vendors are subjected to because of those no vending zones. So, as Ms. Flores mentioned, what this is saying is that the city must follow a strict objective criteria to ensure health and safety, while also establishing regulated vending zones rather than arbitrarily prohibiting entirely in certain broad sweeping areas. Now, I talk a lot about my own personal experience being a street vendor and a son of street vendors, and how that experience taught me about the cultural vibrancy of these entrepreneurs into the city. And so the vendors that are here today, I want to say that this legislation was impacted by your life experiences. We see you, we value your hard work and what you bring to the city, and hopefully we'll continue to work with the folks that are most affected by this as we continue to evolve the laws of our city, while also bringing all the stakeholders who are part of making this legislative process. So thank you so much, and I encourage and I vote on this motion. Thank you.
Yo sé que históricamente han sufrido mucho el acoso en las calles, las banquetas, a lo largo ancho de la ciudad de Los Ángeles. Lo más bonito es que cuando dejaron su país de origen, cruzando frontera, no llegaron a este país pidiendo limosna.
So, yes, I know that historically you suffer a lot for the harassment in the streets, in the sidewalks, in the city of Los Angeles, but the nice thing is that when you came here, you didn't come here like begging for charity.
Llegaron a trabajar, a ganar su sueldo con el sudor de su frente.
You came here to work, to make your money, like make your salary with a sweat, with your own sweat.
Y por eso yo les felicito y todos mis colegas que han trabajado y el equipo personal también que han trabajado por el bienestar económico de ustedes y su familia.
So I want to congratulate you and all the colleagues that work for the benefit of you and for your well-being and for the well-being of your family.
So I do have a question. Because I remember being in the state of California when I was a co-author of the ambulante street vendor legislation. And we had passed that years ago. Why did it take so long to make what I would consider very simple fixes, not very complex, arcane legislative dynamics, but why did it take so long to do something that was rather so simple after this was state law in California for, God knows, I think at least 5, 6, 7 years now? And we fast forward into 2024, and we're kind of these small edits, which are huge for their well-being, but rather for us in the legislative branch in the city attorney's office I would consider to be rather simple. Why did it take so long?
The city passed a decriminalization law before the state law took effect, and we're back here today with an ordinance upon council's request, and we've tried to bring it back promptly for you.
So what year was that when the city passed the decriminalization then?
It was 2018.
So that was 6 years ago then?
Yes.
6 years ago, okay. So then it passed 6 years ago, we fast forward into 2024.
No, it can't be.
And they've been dealing with this for so many years now. It feels to me that what could have been a very simple fix just took so long, and I just don't. I'm perplexed, befuddled, bewildered at why it takes so long. I'm not blaming it on you personally. That's not what I'm doing. But why did, again, let me repeat the same question again. Maybe you can have a more nuanced answer.
Right. So a couple things. One, we generally don't spontaneously bring ordinances to you. Normally we wait until council asks for the ordinance.
Gotcha.
And so part of the issue with this ordinance was until we were sued and our no vending zones were challenged, it was unclear whether they were lawful or unlawful under state law.
The 3 vending zones? I'm sorry, go ahead.
So when the judge indicated, even though we don't have a final ruling, that our findings were not sufficient to justify the current vending zones in the ordinance, we actually initiated conversations with the council so that we could get a request for an amending ordinance to strip these zones out. So we've tried to be proactive. We tried to defend the ordinance, which was council's prior direction to us, please create these no vending zones, which we did. When the judge indicated that they might be legally insufficient, we came back to you and asked for a new instruction, got one, and here we are today with your amended ordinance.
Okay.
Many of us have felt for a long time that street vendors have an important role to play in our economy. And so I'm very pleased that we are moving somewhat incrementally, somewhat glacially, but we're finally moving forward. I think a policy will help us achieve that. We know that we need to have cooperation and collaboration from our county partners, but this is an important step in creating some uniformity and some certainty to assist those vendors who are really making a contribution to our community. Thank you, Mr. President. I too urge an aye vote on this matter.
So I thought I would just share with you that I don't know if I've mentioned this to you, but my grandfather was a street vendor, actually. When he first immigrated to this country, my grandfather was a street vendor who sold melons on Sunset Boulevard, actually in your district, and until he could afford to buy a truck and sell his produce off the back of the truck. So this is... He actually also worked for a time and lived for a time in Mr. De Leon's district on Olvera Street, actually, in El Pueblo. So, but anyway, that's secondary. Thank you, Mr. De Leon. But yeah, so this is a tradition that goes back many generations in our city and is the entry point for many to enter commerce and to enter entrepreneurship and to be able to raise their families with the income that they derive from street vending, and then hopefully moving on from there to other enterprise as well. So with that, members, item 14 is now before us. If there's no other members wishing to be heard, let's go ahead and open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the votes.
15 ayes.
Very good. Thank you very much. Item 14 passes. Yeah. Councilmember Park.
Thank you, Council President. I rise in asking that we adjourn today in honor of an LA legend, Carl Weathers. Before he became one of the big screen's most famous boxers, Weathers actually was a professional athlete. After playing college football at San Diego State, including a victory at the 1969 Pasadena Bowl, he signed with the Oakland Raiders. After playing linebacker there for a couple of years, he moved on to the Canadian Football League's British Columbia Lions for a few more seasons. But with his future career in mind, he was actually studying drama in the off-season. By the mid-1970s, Weathers had fully transitioned to acting, with notable roles in Friday Foster and Bucktown, as well as TV appearances on Good Times, The $6 Million Man, and Kung Fu. Then, in 1976, Weathers took on the role that he would become most known for, playing heavyweight champion Apollo Creed. Rocky's opponent and antagonist in the first two films, Creed evolved into his friend and trainer by the third installment. After his role in the Rocky series came to an end, Weathers next starred along Arnold Schwarzenegger in Predator. In 1988, he starred as the title character in Action Jackson, earning an NAACP Image Award nomination. Another memorable movie role came in 1996 as he starred alongside Adam Sandler in Happy Gilmore, playing golf coach Derek Chubbs Peterson. Weathers began doing voice acting in Sandler's 2002 animated Hanukkah film, 8 Crazy Nights, and went on to join the ranks of Disney Pixar voice actors, starring as Combat Carl in Toy Story 4. Weathers also had an active TV career, starring in several shows and making memorable guest appearances. In 2019, he began appearing in the hit Star Wars franchise TV show, The Mandalorian, for which he was nominated for an Emmy. He also directed 2 episodes of this series, and if you haven't seen The Mandalorian, you absolutely should. It's fantastic. Other TV appearances included Arrested Development, ER, Psych, and Law & Order SVU, among many more. His impact will continue to be felt on and off the screen, and he will be missed by many, especially his friends, neighbors, and fans in Venice and across the city of Los Angeles. May he rest in peace.
Thank you.